What's going on, guys? So there's a new Hulu series that just came out today, the first 3 episodes, called DopeSick. It's got a crazy good cast. I'm loving it so far. Before we go into it, please make sure to like this video and please make sure to subscribe if you're new here. We cover all the new movies, TV shows, and all that great stuff. But let me talk to you guys about DopeSick. This will be a spoiler-free review. Going to give you my thoughts on the first 3 episodes and my rating on it afterwards. So let's get into it. So DopeSick is based on the true story about how the OxyContin pharmaceutical company pretty much lied to us about how their drug was non-addictive and how that ended up becoming into one of the biggest epidemics we've ever seen. So this cast is insanely good, as you can see. We got Michael Keaton, who everyone knows. We got Rosario Dawson, who pretty much everyone knows nowadays. We got Will Poulter, who just got cast as Adam Warlock in the Marvel series. Really excited for that. I think he's such a great actor. We got Caitlin Dever, who was really fantastic in the series Unbelievable, I think it was called. And she's been in a lot of other things like Booksmart. I really enjoy her. Michael Stuhlbarg, who is most known for his role in Call Me By Your Name. I just watched him recently. He is such a great actor, especially in that monologue he gives. One of the best monologues, but let's keep going with the show. We got Philippa Sue, who you guys may recognize as Eliza from Hamilton, and a couple other characters. And so the series follows all these different characters, and all of them have different stories, but they're all centered around OxyContin. For example, Michael Keaton, he plays a small-town doctor who's given the OxyContin drug, and his story sort of shows us how these doctors are sort of manipulated into distributing this drug for the pharmaceutical company. They didn't really know the full effects. They were lied to about how it's non-addictive, and they were given certain dosages of the OxyContin to distribute to their patients. And Michael Keaton's character just shows us that he's really not, he's sort of wary of the drug, but also shows that these doctors could get sued, if they don't distribute it to these patients, because the patients could sue them. And just a lot of lies being told throughout this whole series. And that's probably one of the most engaging aspects of the show, is just realizing, how nuts this story is and how it's based on true story, and just how everything unravels, and just the amount of lies that were told to us and how they got away with this. Just really compelling stuff. Will Poulter, he plays a character who works for the OxyContin company. He's the one who sort of manipulates these doctors into distributing the drug. He's the one that sort of tells them the lies, along with Philippa Sue's character, who plays like this snarky little character. They have their own little romance that's going on. Pretty entertaining, I think. I like both those actors. But yeah, so it's just really interesting to see, how the way that they're employed and what they're supposed to do is that they have really an incentive to sell as much OxyContin to these doctors as they can, or else they'll get a trip to the Bermuda, or it's a pay increase. So they don't really care. Like, they're just money hungry. They don't care about the lives of these people. Will Poulter, he sort of plays a character that is a little bit caring, but he's also wants to make money. So he'll go and he'll tell these doctors lies if he has to. And they don't really know the whole truth either. They're just given a pamphlet and they're saying, go and do this at your job. And they go and do it and they get paid a lot of money. So why should they care? But yeah, just really interesting, like I said. Rosario Dawson plays this DEA agent who's sort of there to show us how big OxyContin is getting and how effective it is and how much crime is growing because of it. She's kind of there to show us. We do time jumps with her. Well, with all the characters, we do time jumps. So it shows us sort of like the early 90s. We even see like the president of the company, who's played by Michael Stuhlbarg, and how he comes with the ideas to lie and manipulate everyone, and his ideas to really push OxyContin. We see the two detectives, these two other cops, these other characters, who are starting to investigate and realizing that OxyContin company is starting to lie to the people. So we see them, we jump from the 90s to the early 2000s. In the future, they're presenting the case to the courts, they're bringing up witnesses, so we see that. And then we also go back to the 90s from when they're first investigating it. So the time jumps could be a little bit much. Like in one episode, there could be like, 6 or 7 time jumps as we go back from all these different characters. So we see Dawson, and it's like her later on, and she's sort of like dealing with what's happening like after, like she's divorced, and then in the beginning we see that she gets married. But she's just sort of there to be the one that pushes the investigation forward for the DEA. And as we see, there are some other people in the DEA who don't want her investigating this too much, which is also a really compelling element. And then Caitlin Dever's character, her character is very interesting. There's sort of two stories with her. She's there to pretty much show us the effects of OxyContin and what it can do in a human. Sort of being like the victim of this drug. She gets into some sort of accident with her back pain, so she's prescribed OxyContin, and it just shows the effects on her, like how it can be so addictive so easily. But she's also a closeted lesbian in this Christian household. Her parents are very religious, and so it's just really interesting to see this lesbian around this religious household, and that just brings a whole nother dynamic to her character. So I actually really enjoyed that, how there's so much to her. So whenever she was on screen, it was always interesting to watch. But yeah, the main draw with this show is just how crazy it is, like how nuts that it's based on a true story. And just when you think like all the conspiracy theories, and all this going on, you sort of forget about the whole OxyContin epidemic. and it being told to us in this way in the series with these like great time actors, it's just a really good time. Just it's such a relaxing watch, even though it is maybe some heavy stuff. It's told in a way that doesn't feel heavy or depressing. If anything, it's entertaining. It's just like I could probably watch the whole series today, honestly. It was only the first 3 episodes. It sort of flew by, even though if you think back on it, it is like 3 hours. Each episode is over an hour long. So longer than your typical episode, but like I said, it's compelling. It goes by fast. And I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. I was just very compelled and engaged. So I'll give you guys my rating for the 3 episodes overall. It's a 4.1 if I average out all my ratings. I think the first episode was the most well put together one. I think it was a great introduction. I'd give it like a 4.1. The second one was maybe the weakest out of the 3. It was like a 3.9, but it was still really like a great episode. And then 3 was probably the best. I'd give it like a 4.3. Just the stuff that happens. Like I said, it's a spoiler for your review. I'm not going to spoil it. But it just gets pretty crazy, and the characters just become more compelling as we unravel the story. And I'm excited to see how this all plays out. And the show does a great job at villainizing this pharmaceutical company. I mean, it literally feels, Michael Stuhlbarg feels like a villain, like an actual like movie villain, even though he's based on a real character. It's like world domination the way he's going after with this OxyContin stuff. So it's so easy to root against him. I found myself rooting for these cops. And like I said, even though we already kind of know how this maybe will play out, it was just still very interesting. So overall, I have to say I highly, highly recommend for you guys to go check out the show. If you're into sort of like documentaries or stories based on real stories, just really compelling, like I said. If you watched it already, please let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. But yeah, I would really hop on this, guys. I'm so excited for next week's episode already. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video.